Baseball easily has the most unbreakable records of any sport. In fact, it's pretty easy to name 5 without even thinking. So I'm going to go ahead and toss out a few unbreakable records that you probably are getting ready to type in the comment section, but to me are unbreakable for a variety of rather uninteresting factors. Cy Young won 511 games, unbreakable, and lost 364, unbreakable, we get it. Joltin' Joe hit in 56 straight, we get it. Cal Ripken broke a record nobody thought would ever get broken and played in 2,632 consecutive games. Got it. And the Ryan Express, 5,714 Ks and 7 no-hitters. You know these. But let's get into some unbreakable records that I feel aren't lauded as much and are a tad bit more difficult to break. Though how you can get more unbreakable than unbreakable is up to you to tell me how dumb my logic is. Here we go. 5 unbreakable MLB records. Like saying unbreakable 4 times in a segment. Number 5, Walter Johnson, 113 shutouts. Pitchers are pussies these days. Yep, you heard me. Since a 95-mile-an-hour fastball with movement combined with a devastating breaking ball is apparently the rarest thing on earth, and every pitch thrown needs to be monitored and accounted for by PricewaterhouseCoopers in a database somewhere, pitchers don't throw as many innings as they used to. In fact, they don't even complete games. Get out there, throw 6 solid innings, hand it over to your bullpen, get a few runs, win a Cy Young. And shutouts, those are getting rarer than a decent quarterback in Cleveland. Last year, Clayton Kershaw led the NL with 3 shutouts, and Corey Kluber led the AL with 2. The big train Walter Johnson accumulated his shutout record over 21 seasons, averaging just above 5 shutouts a year, his season high of 11 coming in 1913. The last time a pitcher even notched 6 shutouts? 2011 when Cliff Lee did it. The active leader in shutouts, after 10 years in the bigs, Clayton Kershaw has 15. That's an average of 1.5 per season. In order to beat Johnson's record, Kersh will have to pitch for 63 more years. We'll probably see the Clippers win a playoff series before this record ever gets broken. But don't hold your breath for that. Number 4, most home runs in 2 games. 5, multiple. Whoa. Did I just list an unbreakable record that has been done 32 times and twice by several players and most recently by Mookie Betts last year? Hell yeah, I did, and I will explain why. Hitting home runs is hard, and hitting lots of them on back-to-back days is even harder. In order to break this record, a player has to hit 6 home runs in 2 games. Oh, you say, all right, 3 home runs one game and 3 home runs the next. Well, in over 212,000 games, nobody has ever done it. This record has survived the live ball era, where pitchers would stay out there even though they're getting tattooed like a drunk teenager that just graduated from high school at Beach Week. This record survived the steroid era, where players were injecting themselves with more chemicals than food grown by Monsanto. Yes, it seems very attainable to break this record, but there are many factors involved. Number 1, you have to hit the bombs. And though the record for home runs in 1 game is 4, the fact that you would need to hit 2 the next day is limiting. Surely for the fact if you hit 4 bombs one day and the next day you started out with another, you aren't going to see many fastballs after that. In fact, nowadays you would get your little finger wave and you'd be trotting to first the rest of the afternoon. Aside from not seeing any good pitches or being pitched to, hitting major league homers when people are trying to get you out in bunches is again difficult. This record, though seemingly very easy to break, has stood the test of time and thousands of at-bats and pitches. You'd think, like Americans actually having affordable health care, it would happen eventually. It won't. Number 3, Rickey Henderson, 130 steals in a season. Stolen bases are a key part of baseball strategy, and sometimes they can completely change the complexion of a game or a series. Pretty simple strategy, right? Get on base, turn a cheap hit into a walk or a double or even a triple, score on the next hit or ball in play. But like shutouts and hot women that aren't certifiably insane, the frequency of stolen bases has steadily dwindled. since the early to mid 1980s when stolen bases were at their absolutely insane peak. In 1982, Rickey Henderson, the self-proclaimed greatest base thief of all time, literally ran wild to the tune of 130 stolen bases in one season, shattering Lou Brock's record of 118 and setting a mark probably no one will ever get close to. It's also worth noting that Rickey got caught stealing 42 times that year as well. So why is this record unbreakable? Because teams don't steal nowadays. For as crazy as the 80s were when you had guys like Vince Coleman, Tim Raines, and Willie McGee, who holds the record for most steals by an alien, you no longer see teams give a player the green light like they used to. And the reason isn't because players are any slower, it's actually more depressing than you think. It's because analysts have now taken over the strategy portion of managing a game, and teams no longer feel the upside of stealing a base is worth the risk. Look at the steady decline in stolen bases. It almost is directly in line with increasing processor speeds so that the team of nerds that crunches the data for MLB clubs can calculate confusing stats like WAR in real time. Most teams feel that unless you are successful more than 80% of the time stealing a base, then it's not worth it. Look at Rickey Henderson's 1982 season. Love the Easy E hair, by the way, Rickey. He stole 130 bases on 172 attempts. That's a 75% success rate, which isn't bad, but Henderson didn't even lead the league in runs that year, even though he did have 119. Because you can't score runs when you trade an out for a base runner, and the suits say runs are more precious than stolen bases. So until Usain Bolt learns to hit a curve, don't expect this record to be broken. Number 2, Fernando Tatis, 2 grand slams in 1 inning. Hitting 2 home runs in 1 inning is hard enough, but that's been done 59 times. And twice it has happened from both sides of the plate. What has only happened once and will maybe never happen again and will certainly not ever be broken was what happened on April 23rd, 1999 when Fernando Tatis hit 2 salamis in 1 inning. In the 3rd inning against the Dodgers with Chan-Ho Park on the bump, the Cardinals set up 14 batters and scored 11 runs, with Mr. Park serving them all up. Tatis hit his first grand slam to give the Cards a 4-2 lead as he was the 4th batter in the inning and the table was set just perfectly for him. But 8 batters later, the stage was set again and the greedy Cardinals batted around and were holding a 7-2 lead already. I get that it was early, but how the Dodgers let Park face Tatis again is beyond me. And after working a 3-2 count, Fernando, who finished his career with 119 total home runs, hit a ball deep into left center and also into the history book. 8 RBI in 1 inning is also a major league record. Interestingly enough, the Cards only scored 1 more run after that, and the final score was 12-5. Sometimes you just have a bad day, Chan-Ho? I really don't see how a human being could get even a chance at 3 grand slams in 1 inning, as by then you'd probably just walk the guy or take your chances or suicide yourself, because the minimum number of runs to have been scored in an inning to get a player up a 3rd time with the bases loaded and after he has hit 2 grand slams is 14, taking into account that 2 outs have likely already been recorded in the inning by then. Though in 1953, the Red Sox did score 17 runs in 1 inning. Dear God, that's terrible. Anyways, like any bone in Chuck Norris' body, this record will never be broken. Number 1, Johnny Vandermeer, 2 consecutive no-hitters. The fact that this record even happened is amazing to begin with. You could almost argue the fact that the record of 1 no-hitter in a row is the record for most consecutive no-hitters, if that's like even a thing. But in 1938, rookie Johnny Vandermeer of the Reds did the impossible. First, on June 11th, he tossed a no-no against the Boston Bees, where he did walk 3 batters, but nonetheless completed the very difficult task of pitching a no-no. Then, 4 days later, he went into Brooklyn and despite walking 8 batters and some help from his fielders, pitched his 2nd consecutive no-hitter. Vandermeer would play 13 seasons in the bigs and was by most accounts an average pitcher. Now let's look at how unclose the field has come to breaking the record. The closest is Ewell Blackwell, who in 1949 pitched a no-no and then made it 8 innings the next outing until Eddie Stanky broke it up in the 9th. Max Scherzer came pretty close in 2015 when he threw a no-no and a one-hitter in back-to-back outings, but the one-hitter actually came first in the order, so back-to-back really wasn't a chance. Of course, he tried to get another no-hitter after that and failed. It's also worth noting that nowadays pitchers get pulled even during active no-hit bids. Scherzer's no-hitter in the second outing had him only throwing 97 pitches. Because like I said at the beginning of this video, pitchers are coddled like the snowflakes you see on college campuses these days, and their mean managers are ready to take them off the bump as soon as they reach their allotted pitch count, even if it's during an at-bat or a no-hit bid. So not only do you have to be good, but you have to be efficient. Even though it does seem like there are 1 or 2 no-hitters a year now, but no way anyone ever throws back to back to back, even if pitchers aren't giant pussies like they are now. Agree with my list? Think I left any off? Leave a like or comment below and subscribe if you aren't already. You can also follow me on Twitter at 5pointsvids. I'm 5 Points Gaming, and you made it to the end of this video.